has taken over.
Let's go.
It's Pharrell.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Pharrell, coast to coast.
All right, into hour two, let me tell you about a couple things. One, the Sports Grid app, you got to have it. It's, I think, more essential than water. You get everything. You can watch the network, listen to the network, all the odds, in-game odds, stories, highlights, videos, everything is on the Sports Grid app on iOS or Android in the Play Store. You can follow your favorite hosts as well, like Carver High. Go get it. It is free, as in free is me, Free. It is free. Also, did you know that we're streaming on X now? Imagine that. All you have to do is go to SportsGrid-Live, and you can see our shows 24/7 streaming on X, and it's a beautiful thing. Also, make sure you get the episodes of Coast to Coast and Pharrell on the Bench in podcast form on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and your fix. And you get the entire 3 hours of C2C. And then Pharrell on the Bench can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes every day. And people seem to dig that, both of them, obviously. So now that you're caught up on all of that, we dive into another hour of C2C on a Tuesday. So I already rambled on about the sports books and their crappy odds. And Carver High won't back me up, apparently, but I know I'm right. I don't care what anyone thinks. Here or anywhere else, for that matter. They are the enemy. I am not listening to anyone here or anywhere else tell me how to think or how to act or how to behave or how to live or where to bet or who to listen to. I mean, you got the wrong guy lined up if you want me to be following line and suck up to the sports books. Screw the sports books. They are the enemy, all of them. Where I go to bat, I go to win. That's it. End of story.
Yeah, I mean, look, the idea is to beat them. That is what it's all about at the end of the day. And you look at a number like that with the Ravens and Steelers having such a gap, I guess you could say, between them on that board.
Where is that coming from?
You know,
where is that coming from? That's like telling me Alabama's the favorite to win the national championship. What is next?
Well, that's the thing. I think that it comes down to it's a combination of the people that do the lines and the charts and graphs that still don't believe in the Steelers. I don't think that they believe yet that I'm not saying that I agree with that assessment. I'm telling you the people who think they know, as we always like to say, will tell you.
I got 5 left. You're telling me that, and no offense to you, but you're telling me that the Buffalo Bills are the favorites, and meanwhile, they can't get out of their own effing way in the NFL postseason. In their history, they're the greatest floppers in the history of NFL playoffs. There's only the Bills and the Vikings when it comes to failure.
I would not have the Bills as the favorite, no matter what's happened in the last couple of weeks. It's the Chiefs until someone beats them. It's the Chiefs till someone beats them, and I think that line has shifted the Bills a little in front because of the way the Chiefs have played. They believe that the Bills are going to catch them and have the bye and have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
They're trying to make you think twice about your bets. Because they are not your friend. They are trying to take all of your money with all their fancy promotions and their 500 million television commercials and how it's just come into the casino. Just come in. We love you so much. Well, look, we'll give you a free, cheap well drink and we'll give you a room. Look, would you like tickets to the show? What we really mean in Spanish and Portuguese is we are going to take all of your money.
Precisely, and the Ravens are a team that's heavily bet because of Lamar, and I don't think they believe that the Steelers are going to go and beat any of these teams in the playoffs. I don't think they trust Russ yet or anything else like that. So I think that's where it comes down to. Now, on the NFC side, it is the two teams at the top that we have discussed, the Lions and the Eagles, plus 140 Lions, plus 240 Eagles, with the Packers being the third choice at 7-1. and the Vikings at 9. Everyone else pretty far out at 25-1.
Look, I'm telling you, I hate to say it, and I don't want any part of it, but it's reality to me that I understand why it's the Lions, but I think the team to beat is the Eagles. I think they're actually better than the Lions this year on both sides of the ball. And I think the Lions are incredible, and they've had some incredible games. They've also had some stinkers, and you cannot afford to have a stinker in the playoffs. You get in a tight game, it's like we said yesterday, Philadelphia could, Mafia said, bring them down to their level and turn it into a fist fight and turn it into a smash mouth football game. And I think they're better on both sides of the ball. I really do. Than that high-flying, highfalutin offense that's all about, we're going to score 50 points today. That's not happening in the playoffs. It's not happening. We saw that team go into the NFC Championship and absolutely melt down like an ice cream cone in the second half of one of the greatest performances I ever saw in a first half in my life. And then they never did another thing the entire day. I think the Eagles are the dangerous team in this mix. I don't think any other team that they have there, I have a problem with those odds. I don't, frankly, have at it, because this is the way the odds are going to look the rest of the way anyway. And I'm scared that the Steelers have to go to the Link in a couple weeks and play the Eagles. I think that's a loss.
Yeah, look, I think that they have the two teams at the top are the two teams that you're going to see at the end. I really do. I know that some feel that maybe the Packers, I don't think the Packers are on the same level as those two teams. I really don't. I think they're just a notch below the Lions and the Eagles. And look, the Lions do some things that come playoff time are good. They do have two running backs. They play some smash mouth. We saw them go in to Green Bay on the road a month or two ago, whenever that was, and smash the Packers out on their field. So, it would be different going to Philly. I think they are going to beat them again this week, which is where we're going to go to right now, in fact. To start week number 14 is the Lions and the Packers in Detroit on Thursday Night Football. Real good Thursday night game this week. And we will start by hearing from Dan Campbell. It is the best time of the year, not just because it's Christmas time, but because we're coming down the stretch and the best are separating from the worst.
You're always your head's down, and you're going. And players are no different, man. You worry about what's right in front of you, and you just, and you start going. And I think once you hit December, it's hard not to begin to look up a little bit. And I mean that in a good way. Like, you can start to smell the playoffs a little bit. You can start to see what's out in front of you, what's at stake. You're well within the race. And I think it just gives you a little bit of, I don't know, man, excitement.
Yeah, it is what it is. Frankly, what week isn't exciting in the NFL? I mean, it's an 18-week march. I think the only thing I don't like about it is all the buys that go all the way to week 14, but then they go and, square things back up then the rest of the way, and then they start playing these Saturday games and these, I don't mind the doubleheader Monday night games of the season, but I think the season is I think the popularity of it is because of its tightness. It's 18 weeks. It's none of this 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. Honestly, the NBA goes to July. The NHL goes to mid-June. Baseball goes till November. And it starts the last few days of March. It's embarrassing. It never ends. Like, it bleeds into each other so much that you're just like, I told you, watching a baseball game now has become heroin. You're just out cold within 3 innings. The NFL, let's see somebody fall asleep watching the NFL or the Red Zone channel on Sundays. It's impossible. Like, I watch every game from 1 o'clock until I'm passed out. It's that simple.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
All right, so Green Bay and Detroit at Ford Field. I mean, they beat them in Lambeau easily, and you would think that they would be able to beat them at home. I mean, they're even better on that fast track indoors. Believe me, they're like, they kind of remind me of the Rams back in the day, right? The greatest show on turf. Remember how offensive and fast and explosive that was? That's what they remind me of, and they're certainly capable. Remember, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they were this good last year. They were this good last year. This is their 2-year window of excellence. The Lions have never been better than they've been these last 2 years. These 2 years. I mean, before that, they were like building, kind of like the Bulls trying to build to Michael Jordan to winning all those championships. They were building it up, and they couldn't beat the Pistons and blah, blah, blah. This team, Detroit, now is as good as they've ever been, or maybe that they'll ever be. And they still effed it up last year. They effed it up nice and juicy, like the Baconator. So I don't trust them as far as I could spit after I watched them spit out that nut last year in San Francisco. And that's just all there is to it, Mike. I don't trust them. And they've had close calls, just like Kansas City. They are not invincible. Everyone acts like they're unbeatable, and I don't buy that.
I do think that this team is a little bit better than last year's team. I think that, but the one thing that I think can hurt this year's team is they're losing bodies on defense at a pretty good rate, and I think that's going to hurt you in January. Offense will be there, but you got to be able to stop the other team, and I think that that's what's going to get the Lions in trouble as we get a little bit further down the line. They're 3.5-point favorites at home on Thursday night, and the biggest total of the week, 51.5. Now, they did not come close to that in Green Bay when they played earlier this season.
No, it's a different venue, so I think that changes the perspective. What was it, 28-14? I think that's what it was, something like that.
Yeah, 24-14, yes.
Okay, well, there you go. So, how much more are they going to score? I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same kind of game. Maybe add 10 points, they'd still fall short. I think 10 points, I'd give them 10 more points. I still think it's a North battle, a North war, and I think that at some level, defense will be a part of this game. It's not just going to be, look, I mean, Love makes mistakes left and right. He throws bad passes left and right? I don't deny he's good, but he is a dangerous thrower. I mean, this guy, if he has a bad day in the playoffs, they're done. Because if he throws some of these passes I've seen him throw lately, like right to the other team, then they're dead. So I still think there's a chance it could be an under. I think the Lions win the game and cover.
Yeah, as like I said to you earlier, I always root for games like last night, and I hope we get a game like that on Thursday. But I would bet it's probably on the underside on Thursday night. It seems like a game that's going to be close to the vest. There's a lot at stake. I could see it being an under as well for that game. How about a fun game we always play here on Coast to Coast? Let's kick the Bears around a little bit, and why not? After firing Eberflus on Friday, they've made Thomas Brown, who was gone. You talk about a rise. I think he was a position coach, got up to OC when they fired that other guy, Waldron, a few weeks ago. Now he's been up to head coach. But first, let's hear from Bears president Kevin Warren. Organization took a lot of flack for how they fired Eberflus, when they fired Eberflus. He says the Bears are still a top-notch organization in the NFL.
My goal still remains is to make sure we build an organization that can have continued success both on and off the field. Now is that time. Now is the opportunity. We have some great attributes on our side. We have the greatest fans in the National Football League. I would argue we have the greatest fans in all of professional sports.
My ass.
I made it clear in my introductory press conference. We will build a champion on the field. We'll build a champion in the community.
My ass.
We'll build a world-class stadium. Nothing has changed. We are not going to waver from that.
That's right. Nothing's changed since 1985. Nothing at all has changed since 1985. This guy is so full of shack. He should go back to the Big Ten. I mean, honestly, like, they have the best fans in the NFL. Just stop. I mean, literally, they can't hold a candle to the Bills or the Steelers for fans, or the Packers at all, or the Dallas Cowboys at all. They can't even hold a candle to the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, they can't. The Bears do not matter. They absolutely do not matter. Let's stop with all this nonsense and bullshit. I mean, honestly, like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this guy. I mean, what's next? He's going to sell cars to us? Or what's next? How about they put him as senior vice president of one of the sports books that we all bend over for around here? Okay? Let me tell you something. That guy should shut the F up. I respected him until today. Like, I always thought, well, at least they have a great executive running their franchise. A guy that just spews lies to people. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. They've never done absolute shack. They've never done shack. You know you got a problem when kids are still dressing as Mike Ditka on Halloween. You know you got a problem with your team sucks so bad that they're still living on Mike Ditka time. I mean, honest to Christ.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season for any available coach.
I'm going to vomit on
the most coveted job that everyone will want is being the Bears head coach.
Stop it.
The Bears head coach.
You know what they'll do? They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
That'll do the Antonio Pierce.
Ulbrich and the Jets. Yeah. Ulbrich's done a great job. I think Ulbrich will actually be selling cars in February.
He might be. He might be.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Seriously, I was just rattling off like 5 more teams that have better fan bases on top of the 5 I already gave you. And then, like, I basically put them as they're like Falcons or Dolphins fans, right? Like, let's face facts. I lived in Miami. I lived there forever, and I've been doing shows there forever. The one thing I know is always been a Dolphins town, right? Always. And nothing else matters. Meanwhile, the Canes won all the championships, and they don't draw flies. I mean, if they left hot dogs out in the stands with mustard on them, the flies wouldn't even come to eat them. Not even mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are everywhere in South Florida, but they don't go to Canes games. You can go to a Canes game and not bit by a mosquito all night because nobody goes. Have you ever seen their crowds for Miami Cane football games? There's like no one there. I went to a Georgia Tech game. There were 3,000 people. That was the most embarrassing thing I ever saw in my life. Dolphins fans, same thing. It's a wannabe NFL crowd. It really is. Falcons, Georgia draws double the Falcons. That's who the Bears are. The Bears are nothing more than the Falcons and the Dolphins. The talk of them being one of the greatest franchises is so laughable to me. Like, it's a showstopper. Like, I could talk about this all day, and I won't torture you anymore with it. But let me hear from the coach that everyone thinks is going to save the Bears.
Well.
Their season's already over. And remember, on this show, when the season started, we had to listen to this bullshack about this team winning the Super Bowl and the coach of the year and the offensive rookie of the year. We heard all that, and none of the above will happen. And I said none of the above would happen then.
None of them are going to happen. So this is Thomas Brown, who will guide the ship
Whoever
through the
that
final
is.
weeks of the season for them. And the main thing to him is you need to stop all the divisiveness. Apparently, not everybody was on the same page in the Bear locker room. What a stunner that is after listening to Eberflus for the last few weeks. Here's Brown.
So I started the day with our first team meeting. Talk about our players as far as plan of attack moving forward. All right, so before we talk about X's and O's, before we talk about the game plan for San Fran, I talked about making sure our house is right to begin with. So
Which
the
it
initial
isn't.
goal
I
is
guess
to
the
unify
house
this
hasn't
football
been
team.
right.
Everybody in the same accord, moving the same direction, speaking the same language, and attacking together. So no more divisions. As far as the outside noise, we ignore it because it doesn't matter. It's
Here
positive
we
or
go.
negative. What matters is our daily approach. Us working together.
The Jets.
Execute when it's time to go execute.
This guy, okay, I add the Jets to the mix, and, I still think there's some level of class with the New York Football Giants with 4 Super Bowls, okay? So I've always believed that they are a better franchise. In fact, I don't believe it, I know it, than the Jets.
Yeah.
The Bears, We don't want to listen to the noise. What noise is there? You don't effing matter at all. Like, if I see the Bears on my schedule, I want to touch myself. I mean, honestly, I'm like, this is the greatest week ever. I'm playing the Bears. And it's been that way for 100 years. I mean, 100 years. They were so awful before they won that Super Bowl in 1985. I went to the game with my dad because it was such an anomaly. It was like, wow, that's like being a Cubs fan. Like, it was 108 years. You had to go to experience something that never happened or never will happen again. The Bears are the Cubs. They went right back to losing after they won the Super Bowl, and they have sucked monkey onions ever since. And the year they were good, they still shank Hippopotamus in the playoffs with the missed field goal from 26 yards out. I mean, they're the most embarrassing franchise in the league with the Jets. I'm going to put those two together. They should be lovers, those two.
Well, they have lost 5 in a row, and they go to San Francisco this week to see the Niners, who have lost 3 in a row, and they are going to be without, as we figured, McCaffrey and Jordan Mason, who both go on IR. The Niners are minus 3.5, 44.5 the total. And believe it or not, I've seen some of the early numbers, and it's only early in the week, but everybody's on the Bears. 70% of tickets, 85% of money.
No way.
Everybody's on the Bears this week out in San Francisco.
Not me. I'll take Brock Purdy all day, even if he was throwing to his grandmother. If he was throwing to his grandmother playing the slot, the Niners will win that game by 9 points.
They may need her to play running back the way things are going.
And I've only hit about 95% of my bets in the NFL the last 3 weeks, okay? So I don't want to hear it. The Bears suck. Shut up.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on Sports Grid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
So many
if
teams
they would have won that football, yes, that's you're
but that's the thing, guys.
correct.
No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
So, programming note, next week on this very day, Carver High, is the exciting and always beautiful and glorious Sports Grid Christmas party in the city. And it's a huge event. And so in honor of that, we will celebrate by doing Coast to Coast for an additional hour. We will be on from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you are down there, Carver High, I don't know if you'll be there or not in the city, I would recommend that you start drinking in the 6 o'clock hour while you're doing the show. Then again, don't take my advice to heart because it could get us in a lot of trouble. But I would say 3 to 7, then you start. But, you know, if you're going to go through the city and the litany of the whole entity of going to this party, you might want to consider, you know, I went to the Steeler game and the guy next to me said, "You smell like rum." I said, "I just had 3 doubles in the last hour and I'm 60 years old. Is that all right with you if I have a few doubles before the game there?" Jeff, I've only known you for 50 years. What do you think I was going to show up and smell like toothpaste? like maybe some big red chewing gum? Carver High, I recommend you go to the party and start drinking early and eating Christmas cookies. Luke,
we'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll see. I got obviously childcare things during the day, so we'll see how it goes for me getting there early, or at all. We'll see how it goes next week. Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair suspended 3 games for his hit on Trevor Lawrence. Of course, the other day we spoke about it yesterday. Now I don't know if you saw this or not, but here is DeMeco Ryans, Texans head coach, as he. You tell me what it sounds like in this clip, because it sounds like to me that he's blaming Trevor Lawrence for not sliding properly, and then he blames the Jags for starting the entire fight, even though it was his player that took Lawrence's head off. Here is DeMeco Ryans.
You know, you're a defender. A lot of onus is on the defender, right? Whether it's on the sideline or where it's on the quarterback, you don't know what a guy's thinking. You don't know if a guy's standing up and he's continuing to run. You don't know. And then you get a late slide and you hit the guy. Unfortunately that Trevor got hurt. We hope Trevor is okay, but it's also if we're sliding, we have to get down. If we're getting out of bounds, we get out of bounds. And that rule is there to protect the quarterbacks, and we want our quarterbacks to be safe in the league. So we just have to be safe, and we're sliding, make sure we're keeping our heads down. So, and the entire thing is
what is going on
Azeez hits the guy, but their sideline overreacts, and it turns into a melee. It wasn't our guys; it's their team overreacted, pushed our guy, dragging our guy to the sideline. So that's uncalled for. On that side, we have to be better on the sidelines as well with both teams.
I mean, honestly, for Christ's sakes, that was really that is the dumbest clip we've maybe ever played on this show, that I had to listen to this guy try to twist this thing around, and it's the Jaguars' fault, the whole thing. And here's the deal. If you take out our quarterback, you're lucky the fight didn't lead to more fights, and then maybe he'll punch a coach in the face. You know what I mean? Like, you take out the quarterback with a cheap shot and somebody doesn't kick somebody's ass for it, that's what's wrong in this scenario. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. That he slid for 7 yards, okay? And he just said his head wasn't down when he slid, so he had it coming. That's exactly what he said. That was the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard a head coach say in my life in the NFL. That this guy's carried off with a concussion, and he's blaming him for how he slid. And then he blames the team for starting a fight to protect their quarterback. There's lucky there wasn't guns pulled out on the play, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, DeMeco having a bad day. You made yourself look really stupid there. Like a foolish, stupid thing to say. It's like you can't suck at a time when you can't suck. He sucked right there real bad. Here's DeMeco Ryans. He has this reputation now as this great coach, and here's what he did. He just went down like 5 flights, and he had to walk the stairs because the elevator's broken. Like, he just went like you don't even matter anymore, saying something that naive.
Yeah, it's didn't make a lot of sense for DeMeco there. I would have just went with Yeah, and then I think I'll get you some of the GM today, Caserio, because he was kind of killing the league for the suspension as well. So they're not happy down in Houston.
Listen, he deserved it. He deserved it. And let me tell you, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like this. Like,
it's over.
You took a guy's head off. You concussed him with a cheap shot. It was a targeting cheap shot, headshot. And then you spend a day apologizing, and then you want your coach and GM to go on a PR stance for you, go out, do some interviews, and make it look like it's not your fault. Like, first of all, let's get over the fact of this guy, Shair. I thought he was from Saudi Arabia, for Christ's sakes. I don't even know who he is. And they talk about him being some star player, bullshack. And no one's ever heard of him, okay? So he made his name taking out a star quarterback's head and concussing him. And he gets 3 games. Now, can we all just wash our hands of it and move on? No one gives a flying F about your boy Bin Laden or whatever the hell his name is. Shair Rayouf. I can't keep up with this guy. I've never heard of him. He doesn't matter. But now all of a sudden he matters because he's a cheap shot artist? Get a hold of yourself. Stop it. Stop.
Joe Burrow, the only quarterback in NFL history to average 275 passing yards per game with 30 touchdowns and 5 or fewer interceptions through 12 games, and to also have a losing record. That doesn't go well together. Everyone else that has had that in the past has had 10-2s, 9-3s, things like that. And 4 of the 5 have won MVPs as well with those numbers through 12 games. Joe's not going to get that this year. In fact, he's not even going to go to the playoffs. But here's Zach Taylor. Doesn't think that his guys have quit yet. He's probably wrong about that on defense.
I stand in front of the team, and I'm not looking at guys that have checked out, guys that it doesn't mean
Look
something.
a little harder.
And,
I watched it Sunday.
Sometimes when you have losing seasons, you do get that sense from people. And that's, it's hard to sit here and say I'm encouraged by something when we've lost 3 games in a row. But again, when I look at these guys, I know they take a lot of pride in what we're doing, and you're going to get their best.
Oh, please. Here's another one. Guy, he's just trying to save his neck. Here's the deal. I said this to someone today because I was talking about the Steelers, and he's a Steeler fan. And I told him I go to a lot of games. And I said I was a little surprised. I said, but I'm not that surprised because the Bengals have Joe Burrow, Chase, T. Higgins, who's leaving. So break that finger. And then they have, I gave him your defensive end pass rusher, Hawkinson, whatever his name is, Hutchinson. He's matters about as much as remembering his name. Okay, so they literally have 3 players on the entire team. That's it. That's it. They are exactly who they should be because Mike Brown, frankly, doesn't spend money on players. He doesn't want star players. They have no star players. They have no talent. They are truly the epitome of draft and let's see, okay, which works. I think building champions is done through the draft. Fair enough. And they pay no one. So this is sometimes the result you get, that the draft picks don't work out and you don't pay any free agents and you don't pay any guys that are due money, and then you lose. Joe Burrow is on a loser franchise because his owner is cheap as F. That's just all there is to it. I'm right about that, too.
The Bengals do not play again until Monday night, where they'll be in Dallas against the Cowboys. They're 5.5-point favorites. Yes, it is over.
I'm going to go
but can the Cowboys
lose to the Steelers again in Pittsburgh on January 5th.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week-to-week-to-week
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on Sports Grid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them.
What?
Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
So many
if
teams
they
do.
Won that football. Yes, that's you're
but that's the thing, Johnny.
correct.
No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
No, I'm watching this Leicester 2-0 lead over West Ham in the Premier League, right? I've been watching this game today. And, Leicester's like the worst team in the league. And it just shows me how incredibly average West Ham really is. Because when you can't beat the worst team, I don't care where the game is, in a parking lot, at home, away. I watched them literally for almost 90 minutes have not one good shot on goal against the worst team in the league. And I remember when they won it, Leicester, and it was a miracle season, a miracle team, a miracle story. It was unbelievable. But then they went straight to being relegated and they sucked. And then they had to win a championship down below and come back up. And now they're like the worst team in the league again. And they're winning today 2-0. You can't even make this stuff up. And this game is so boring that I swear to God, the security guard in the corner of the end zone is literally sleeping in a chair. He's out cold. The guy's got drivel coming out of his nose, all over his mustache, frozen. He's out cold. The game is so bad. I watched the game. I'm like, what is happening here, this game? Honestly, Carver, I've never seen how hard it is to score in the Premier League when they got 9 guys in the box. No one ever gets a good shot.
Not easy, especially when you get that. You go up by a couple and you just put everybody back. There's really just no space out there for anybody, especially for the team that's trailing. A lot of work to do, and it looks like that's going to go out their way with a 2-0 at this moment. All right, let me finish the rest of this. Mike Tomlin, 18 straight seasons at 500 or better. He has now clinched that with them getting their 9th win so far this year. Every year, 500 or better for Mike Tomlin. And yes, people did want to fire him several times the past couple of years as the Steeler head coach. And by the way, I know you never watch that HBO show. I know you never watch it. I haven't in a long time either. But they are doing the whole AFC North, I guess. And the first episode comes out tonight. And I saw the 1-minute trailer of it earlier this morning. We love Mike a lot. There's probably going to be some good Tomlin stuff in that thing, because that's the first time Tomlin and the Steelers are going to be on there. So there's probably going to be some really good Tomlin lines that come out of that HBO show that's going to be on Tuesday night.
So you think I should watch it for the first time ever? Hard Knocks.
I mean, it is the Steelers. If my team was on it, I'd probably watch it. I think that's the one thing that would get me to watch, is if my own team was doing it.
One thing I am doing is I'm buying playoff tickets tonight. I am buying that. And not only that, I'm going,
Okay.
I told you the last game. Then the following week, I'll go to the playoff game, and then God only knows what will happen from there. But I will tell you that they are exorbitantly higher than the regular season. Like, it is like night and day. And believe me, it's funny to me how, like, I talk about Mike Brown being cheap because he is. And the Rooneys are the same way. They give you market value. They don't ever do deals in season. They never have. They never will. They don't fire coaches. But the one thing they do well is they're a lot like the Yankees. They make a ton of money, and they make it on their fans' backs. They make it at that stadium, and they make it in those season tickets because, believe me, that place is full every week, and you can't get a season ticket to the Steelers. Good luck. And so that's why I'll never give them up. And then secondly, when they jump from the regular season to the playoffs, it's like going from a Camry to a Bentley. I mean, honestly, Carver High, as my mechanic, the cost of a Bentley is rather substantially larger than that of a Camry.
It certainly is. That is a much different price level that you're talking about when you start to get into those two. That's for sure. More good news for the Steelers. Well, actually, let me give you the good news after. I'll tie this together. TJ Watt leads the NFL with 5 forced fumbles this year. Nick Herbig is tied for second with 4. Both those guys have been excellent going after the quarterback. And then the Steelers are going to get Alex Highsmith back against the Browns as well this week. So that is all very good news for the Steelers. Of course, they lost to the Browns a couple of weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. They are -6.5 at the place the Steelers play this Sunday with a 43.5 total.
I got to be honest with you. After they lost to Cleveland in the snow, and after Pickens opened his mouth and said they suck, and they do, I think the Steelers have to go out and beat the snot out of the Browns. A lot like, frankly, the Indiana Hoosiers had to go show Purdue the light on Saturday because everyone said if they don't blow them out, they're not getting in the playoffs, so they win 66-0. Is that good enough for you? We already talked about this earlier on the show today. They're going to the playoff, whether you like it or not. Know that. And all these guys that think they're smarter than everybody, you're not. Go have a sandwich and a beer and a bag of Pringles or whatever. They come in a can and eat the whole thing at once. No one wants to listen to you. All right, so the Steelers have to go out and give it back to this team that beat them in the snow. They think they're better than the Steelers? They need to learn a lesson the hard way on Sunday in Pittsburgh, and they got to cover that number. They got to win by double digits. In fact, I think they need to spank their ass by 20.
That is what they should do, especially with the Browns coming off the short week, Monday night game on the road, back-to-back weeks on the road. This should be a good spot for the Steelers to give a little revenge to Jameis Winston and the Browns coming up this week. We will come back, and I'll just slide this in because we have to play this Lamar clip when we come back. And then we'll finish up the NFL and start to talk about all the college football, new rankings coming out tonight. I've got some numbers for some of the conference championship games this week. So we will do all of that when we return and play the Lamar clip, which you sent me last night. So
I'm a big fan of his, even though I hate them. So it's a problem for me because I love having him on the show. I love the guy. I think he's phenomenal. And yet he plays for those communists in Baltimore. And a bunch of fascists. I hate them dead. I remember seeing the chick we used to work with here, Ariel, at the Super Bowl. And I said to her, F the Ravens when I saw her. I didn't even say hi to her. I just said, I went there and drive by and said, F the Ravens.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on Sports Grid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
have won that football, yes, that's you're
but that's the thing, Johnny.
correct.
No.
The
Stop.
only
Please stop.
the only
Let me
argument
speak.
is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
So Lamar believes in certain things that have to be kept in perspective, apparently, about what's going on with his career and the Ravens season. Is that about right?
Yes, and one thing you have to always remember is that Mama usually knows best, and this was Lamar after the game on Sunday.
I feel like there were some opportunities to run today for you that you may have passed up.
Yeah, my mama just told me that. She just cussed me out, so like I'm mad. So like we gonna get after it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. We gonna get after it. I can't wait till this bye get on. Like we got the Giants coming up. I'm ready to go. Like I'm just ready to go, man.
So what did she cuss you out about?
She said it was lanes I should have took and ran, but I was just trying to let guys develop routes. We had developing routes. I was just trying to go through my progression, but yeah, she right. I'm gonna do my like. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm just mad because I feel like we should win these games and we not getting them done.
It's just the way I like it. Them not getting it done, but he's a badass.
Not getting it done.
It's one of those situations where you hate him, but I respect him so much as a person and as a player that it's difficult for me because if they meet him in the playoffs, I mean, I'm going to go to that game and I'm just going to – I want him to have his head taken off. Meanwhile, I love the guy. I wish he was on my team.
Yeah, you do wish that he was on your team, but he plays for the Ravens, and they've been losing, so that's a good thing. 5 losses this year by a combined 22 points. Justin Tucker has 22 points worth of missed kicks in those 5 losses. So you can do the math right there. Justin Tucker has probably cost the Ravens probably at least 2 or 3 minimum of those 5 games with some of the kicks that he's missed so far this year. They go to the bye, and like he said, they'll play the Giants when they come out of the bye, which is a good thing for them as well because the Giants suck. So that's why that's a good thing for the Ravens. They'll get a win there. Saquon Barkley on pace for 2,123 rushing yards, which would pass Eric Dickerson's record, 2,105, that he set in 1984. I guess if it couldn't get worse for the Giants, who I just mentioned, it would be Barkley breaking the all-time NFL single-season rushing record in his first year in Philadelphia. I guess that would be kind of like the cherry on top of the season for the Giants and John Madden.
I don't think he would have had those numbers with the Giants because their offensive line stinks, and Phillies is relatively spectacular. And when they do the tush push, it always works. When they run this guy, he has these huge games, 255 in a game. I mean, he's been incredible, but I don't think any of that would have happened with the Giants because they suck so bad.
Oh, no question. That's the one thing that I think sometimes falls through the cracks with a lot of fans and a lot of other things, is that you look at those numbers that he's having this year, and he wouldn't have come close to them on that other team. I mean, he wouldn't have come close, and that doesn't mean he was be a bad player. It's just sometimes you need other guys around you to help you succeed in the ways that he's succeeding in Philadelphia this year. The Ravens, Commanders, and Bengals are all in the top 4 in the NFL in scoring. Speaking of the Eagles, they've held all 3 of those teams to under 20 points this year. You referenced it earlier when we did the NFC odds. The Eagle D is absolutely the real deal, and something that the Lions will have to look forward to potentially in the playoffs.
I mean, let's just get it done, right? Let's get these two together for the NFC Championship game, and we'll find out who's the baddest on the NFC side. Real simple, right then and there. These other teams are all posers. Those are the 2 teams. Now, I know things don't always work out, but let's get these 2 together. It's a lot like, in my opinion, the Dodgers and Yankees. Like, let's get it to fruition. Let's make it happen. And let's see the 2 best teams. Now, they always say that the 2 best teams will meet in the title games on both the AFC and NFC. That doesn't happen. That's not the case. But I would like to see those 2, and at the very least, frankly, Kansas City, Buffalo, or Buffalo, Pittsburgh. And I'm done with anything else. I don't want to hear it. Those are the 5 best teams in the NFL. That's all there is to it, whether you like it or not, and let's get it on.
Let's get it on, baby, as we will over this next month and then into January for the playoffs. All right, we'll come back. I got a lot to do the last hour. We got college football. We got all these NBA Cup games tonight. I've even got some things from last night in the NBA and a huge night of college rack with these SEC, ACC games. Big 12, Big East playing the next couple nights. Lots of huge games.
Tomorrow night's like the biggest night in college basketball since the tournament.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on Sports Grid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them.
What?
Honestly.
Do you listen to yourself speak? That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
have won that football, yes, that's you're
but that's the thing, Johnny. No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The early line, only on Sports Grid.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.